Welcome back to Torn Apart, and today we're going to be doing something quite interesting, something I did exactly a year ago, where I launched a new format where instead of telling you the things that you should look forward to, the things that you should enjoy, the things that you should watch this year, we're going to be looking at things that you definitely should not watch, definitely should not support, and maybe even boycott.
No! God, please, no! No!
Last year, I read through your comments and I'm gonna try to give you more arguments this time around. Like, I created a script that is so perfect, but at the same time, I wanna talk about more movies. Spoiler alert, I'm not actually gonna be spending 30 minutes on each movie because we're gonna be talking about 30 movies. But I do encourage you to write it down in the comments. Like, if you think of something that I didn't say about a specific movie, or if you think that you wanna see it for one reason or another and that I didn't mention it, let me know down in the comments and we'll try to do better each and every year. First of all, some accountability. So last year I talked about 19 movies that you should avoid, not watch, etc, etc, and I actually add an 80% accountability rate, meaning that I was right about 80% of my picks. I was actually wrong about 4 movies. So 4 movies actually ended up being good or well received critically, and there was one where I was completely wrong. So I was completely wrong about Paddington in Peru, which turned out to be okay, even though I've heard that it was not as good as the previous ones. The Bad Guys 2, same thing goes with the Paddington movies. The Accountant 2, apparently some people even called it better than its predecessor. And the movie that I was completely wrong about was Thunderbolts, which was a surprising, incredibly well-made movie. As last year, we're gonna be talking about 3 different categories. First of all, the movies that you need to avoid. Second of all, the movies that you should maybe avoid, but mostly we're trying to manage your expectations, but they're not as bad as the previous category. And the final category is called It Should Be Fine, meaning that these movies should be okay, should work out, but let's be critical, let's be cynical, and just keep them on that line there, just in case, so that we don't end up being disappointed. Let's start by a tiny movie that is coming out quite soon, by the end of the week, actually. It's a movie starring Chris Pratt, and it's called Mercy. It's coming out January 23rd, and honestly, like, sometimes you only have to look at the poster to know that something is gonna be really bad. And this is a movie that is called like a screen life movie. I had no idea that it was actually a subgenre, but apparently this director here is the guy who came up with the whole genre, and he's been making these movies over and over again. So I'm talking about Timur Bekmambetov, and he's made films like Unfriended, Searching, Profile, or even the infamous War of the Worlds movie. The main reason why I think that this movie is gonna be bad is mostly because it's yet another kind of like streaming slop era movie where you've got a main actor who is an A-list actor sitting in a room surrounded by CGI, where they're really trying to build up tension just by showing you like clips, and there is nothing actually happening on screen. I feel like this is gonna be like so bad, so forgettable, that, to be honest, I'm actually surprised it's a real movie. This feels like the most ChatGPT movie of the year already. My next one is gonna be The Strangers Chapter 3, which is coming out February 6th. Listen, I'm gonna tell you already that I'm gonna be watching it. I'm telling you, you shouldn't watch it because the previous one was even worse than its predecessor. But I'm gonna watch it because I have to make a video about it.
No. Wait.
Because this is probably gonna go down in history as the worst cinematic like horror trilogy of all time, and I need to witness it. But I'm saying avoid it because they don't need your money. Like, honestly, this is one of the main arguments when it comes to this video here. I want you to avoid a movie, I want you to boycott a movie when you don't want it to be made in the future. If you don't want this kind of like requel/sequel franchise horror movies to be made anymore, because they're never interesting. Maybe there's that 1% like chance that they're gonna be enjoyable or even fun, but most of them are completely garbage, disposable, waste of money and time at the end of the day. So you need to let Hollywood know this with your wallet. That's why I'm like, do not support it. Wait for my video, wait for it to come to streaming if you really want to watch it for some kind of weird twisted reason, but do not pay for it. Like, please listen to me, trust me. If you've seen the two other ones, I'm pretty sure you're not gonna miss anything at all. The next one is Scream 7, February 27th. Listen, there is a lot of reasons why I think you should boycott this. And this is another one that actually, unfortunately for me, I have to watch. I really wanted to boycott this, but at the end of the day, I made a video a couple of years ago where basically I tried to guess the entire plot of Scream 7. So my video that I'm gonna make on this film is gonna be about reacting to my bingo card from that year, not actually reviewing the movie. There you go. So that's gonna be my way of talking about the movie without even talking about it, mostly because the old Melissa Barrera thing where she was fired just because she was voicing her concerns for the Palestinian genocide was abysmal. Jenna Ortega exited the project as well. Christopher Landon, I think, was supposed to direct this movie and he left the project as well because basically none of the things that he wanted to direct were there anymore. And one of the main reasons why I think you should avoid it, if not even boycott this, is mostly because it looks boring.
I'm gonna burn it all down.
I don't give a fuck. Do I look like I give a fuck? Because I don't.
Like, watch the trailer, pay attention to everything that you see here. If you are a huge Scream fan, like, be honest with me. Do you see anything worthwhile? Do you think anything interesting? Because I get it, with the New York thing, it was a new setting. Like, of course, we were gonna be watching it, right? Even if it was disappointing at the end of the day. With this film here, back to Woodsboro, the old characters are back once again. Maybe we're gonna be getting some legacy characters from the original trilogy. That is not the reason why you should watch it or support it. Do we agree? Honestly, you do what you want to do because I know that it's a huge franchise and the movies end up being either well received or at least enjoyable to watch. They're never garbage, but there are so many different reasons I think why you should kind of like think back on it before giving it your money. And I know that Kevin Williamson is back and he's the original writer of the Scream movies as well, and he's directing this one here. This is gonna be on you whether you want to watch it or not, because I'm pretty sure that it's not gonna be garbage, but it just feels icky. Like, it's one of those movies where I'm sitting there being like, do we want these movies to be made in these kind of like situations anymore? The next one I want you to avoid is coming out on May 1st and it's called Animal Farm and it's directed by Andy Serkis. I actually have read George Orwell's Animal Farm. Two reasons why I think you should definitely not watch it or not even be excited about it. First of all, because I think that animation wise it looks like garbage. Like, we've seen so many incredible movies with animals as the main stars, and I'm pretty sure they picked like a really bad like animation studio this time around. If you just look at Goat, which is coming out this year, the animation style looks incredible there. It's a new Sony animation movie. Or even Zootopia 2 from last year, or even like if you want like Disney Hoppers, all of those look way much better than this. But the reason why I think it makes it not worth your time is that Andy Serkis is clearly not adapting the real story, the real message of Animal Farm.
A slaughterhouse. Look at all this deliciousness. They want this.
And for me, it's almost like a dangerous thing to do, because Animal Farm is a story that is really about like totalitarian regimes and the idea of how you cannot escape human nature. And you can already tell by the trailer that the humans are basically manipulating somehow the animals when it comes to their choices. And that is not something that is present in the story. The story, the pigs, basically represent that part of human nature that always wants to dominate others and to use whatever means necessary. It was basically like a huge allegory for the Soviet Union, or even for what happened in China when it comes to how the Communist Party and leftist ideologies have been corrupted to dominate other people. Do not support it. To be honest, like, this is a movie that looks like that kind of like streaming stuff that does not deserve your money at all. And I'm really sad because Andy Serkis has worked on a lot of cool stuff, but this looks like a very Americanized version, sanitized version of the original story, and it doesn't deserve to see the light of day. And now we've got a movie that is called Reminders of Him. This is a little pet peeve of mine. Colleen Hoover's movies. She's basically the new Nicholas Sparks.
I never thought there would be an after you.
What?
No.
And these are the kind of movies that really, I mean, they're gonna work because there is an audience for the books as well. But at the end of the day, these movies are so digestible, they're so palatable, they're so completely forgettable. I really do not see how it would be good or worth anyone's time. Of course, if you're a fan of the books, you're gonna want to watch this, but I'm talking to film fans, I'm talking to people who actually like well-written comedies, well-written dramas. This is not gonna be for you because it's not for me. And even though I'm a weird, bald, white guy, I'm pretty sure that I like most things, even when they're bad. But I can recognize when something is definitely gonna be non-original and not even satisfying work. The next one is coming out on May 22nd. It's called The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Good shot, baby.
Listen, so this might be a little bit more subjective, mostly because I've been avoiding Star Wars stuff for quite some time. I gave Andor Season 2 a chance as well, but got bored in the middle of it. I never watched The Mandalorian, so this is a personal pet peeve of mine, being like, don't you think that by looking at the trailer, it just doesn't really look like a Star Wars movie? Like, I was in there being like, it really feels like I'm watching a cartoon. There are so many like quirky little animals. I literally cannot tell what the story is about. I suppose that if you're a fan of the show, you're gonna enjoy it, but at the end of the day, this does not look like something that belongs even in the Star Wars universe at this point. At this point, what does it even mean to be part of the Star Wars universe? It feels like they're trying to push down as many stories as possible, and there is nothing that feels like a Star Wars movie anymore. So it's something that I'm not gonna be supporting either, and it's up to you if you want to, because this is the type of like action sci-fi movie that is gonna fill up your time, but I'm pretty sure that it's not gonna be as memorable as any other Star Wars movies. It really feels like a TV special. It didn't really feel like a big event kind of movie. And I know that not most movies need to be event movies, but we haven't had a Star Wars film in a really long time, and it feels really weird to be marketing one like this right now.
My favorite thing about the movie is like it feels like a movie. It feels like a real, like, you know, go to the theater film movie.
Then we're going to be talking about Toy Story 5, and I'm pretty sure you were quite shocked to see that it was present on my thumbnail as well. It's coming out on June. It's directed by Andrew Stanton, and listen, there is a very specific screenwriting reason why I think that you should avoid this, and also a marketing one. Let's start by the marketing one, which is the easy one. The trailer looks bad.
Hi there, I'm Lilypad. Let's play.
Why?
The entire concept looked bad. The idea of toys going against like these type of like iPads and games and computer systems at the end of the day. I know they're never going to do something like Small Soldiers. There is not going to be an actual like fight for survival. So it's just going to be incredibly boring, and it's definitely not for someone who has grown up with the Toy Story like franchise. Already the fourth movie kind of felt like they were dumbing it down a little bit to introduce Toy Story to a new generation, and it was completely fine, even though the ending of Toy Story 3 was absolutely incredible. But here we have to call it a day. I feel like as fans, at some point, we need to start establishing our own headcanon and keep it as it is. So I'm gonna pretend that this movie doesn't exist, because honestly, I think that they retired the toys in such a beautiful way, movie after movie after movie, and at some point we just need to stop it. We need to stop it, we need to call it a day and be like, the story is over for us and for whoever decides not to actually watch this movie. But if you watch it, I get it, but I consider you to be a weak human being. No, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but if you know what I mean, let me know. July 1st, we're gonna be getting one of the most horrific movies of the year. We still don't have a trailer for this. It's Minions 3 Mega Minions. Listen, same kind of creative team all over again. I didn't watch the first two ones, so there is no way I'm gonna watch a third one. This is the perfect movie where you put your kids in front of it, right? Like your toddlers, your very young infant children, because there is no way anyone could actually enjoy it, like not in a meta way. And actually, I should probably like do a marathon of the Minions movie at some point, almost like a soul-like torture device, because I'm almost convinced they make you get stupid. Like they make you dumber, like without a doubt. July 10th, we're getting something that I always complain about. Every single year we get at least one garbage movie like this. Live action Disney movies, do I need to talk about it once again? I actually have a big argument that maybe I haven't mentioned yet, and it's the fact that I think they're insulting to the animation teams. I think they are a big middle finger to all of the people who crafted all of these characters and spent so much time trying to animate them and make them feel like real and human, but doing it through an animation style instead of doing it through a live action format. Basically, when you have a live action something, for me it feels like, oh, people don't enjoy animation, people think animation is for children, we need to give them real actors, otherwise they cannot relate to the story. This is what I get from it, and I've never supported any of the live action like movies. I haven't watched any in the last 5 or maybe even like 7 or 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe the last one I watched was probably Maleficent, which is technically an original movie, it's not even like a live action remake, or even Cruella. Those are way more interesting than this slob here. So I really hope that you will not go see it, even though I know it's gonna make $1 billion. I know it. It's gonna be so bad. Plus the trailer, come on, like they took out all of the colors and the life from it, but it makes sense because it's animation. Everything has to be more vibrant when it's in animation form, and live action needs to be realistic, so of course the colors are never gonna be the same. But anyways, I'm gonna stop talking about it. Let's talk about the next one, which is coming out August 28th, and it's called Cliffhanger. I know what you're thinking, there is another Cliffhanger movie, right? Starring Sylvester Stallone from 1993, and it's such a classic like 90s movie. Like there is no way that they're gonna be able to make this story interesting. It feels like when they remade Point Break, or was that technically a sequel? Didn't work, never gonna work. It's technically directed by Jean-Collet Sarrat, so you can say that he's made previously interesting or fun looking action movies, but why? Why are we doing this? Why are we remaking stuff from the 90s already? It's so fucking stupid. It's so dumb. Stop, please. On October 2nd, we got another one of those Colleen Hoover adaptations, and it's called Verity. I need to tell you what this is about, because it's not only because it's a Colleen Hoover movie that you should avoid it, it's because it sounds really stupid. And it's basically about a writer who is in need of work when she's basically contacted by Jeremy Crawford. Jeremy's wife is the best-selling author Verity Crawford, and due to a mysterious accident, she's unable to finish her successful book series, and Jeremy asks Lowen to complete the series, and while working on it, she discovers a manuscript that raises questions regarding Verity's psychological well-being and possibly links to her publications, and it's starring Dakota Johnson. Please stop. No, this sounds so fucking boring. No, let's not do this. I don't want to do this. Please stop it.
That is so fetch. Gretchen, stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
Next is actually quite surprising because it's a Ty West movie and it's a Christmas Carol new adaptation coming out November 13, and I'm avoiding it mostly because I don't want to hear this story again. I've seen it so many different times. This is the same kind of argument you can use for so many classic stories being retold where you're like, why do we need this? Why do we need this for a new generation? Just watch the old one. It was good. Read the book. Like at this point, why are we here? Plus it's also starring Johnny Depp, and I'm not really ready to see him on screen, to be honest. Like the old trial thing kind of broke it, you know? It broke the excitement of seeing Johnny Depp on screen. Also, Ty West is a horror filmmaker. Like, how would he be able to make an interesting movie out of something that we know everything about? On November 25th, we are getting Fokker in Law. Fokker in Law is part of the Little Fokker like franchise. It's insane that these words are coming out of my mouth, but yeah, it's starring basically Ben Stiller, it's starring Robert De Niro, and to be honest, it's not gonna work. When it comes to comedies being made like 10 years after, plus this is a sequel to a movie that was actually quite bad. The last movie in the trilogy was so nonsensical and just not fun at all. Plus, I don't want to see Robert De Niro in this role. Like already in the last movie, it really felt like he didn't want to be here. Why would he want to be here for this one? Plus, I've also heard that Dustin Hoffman is not going to be part of the cast. And same goes with Barbra Streisand. And honestly, they're so much fun, and they're the only reasons why these movies ended up being actually interesting to rewatch as well, because they're so weird. Unfortunately, on December 23rd, we're ending up the year with the Angry Birds movie. The third third one in the famous trilogy. Why are we doing this? Why do we keep doing this? Like,
why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way.
I haven't watched the previous two ones. This is not a story that exists. This is like a game that you have on your iPhone. Like, I don't even need to tell you anything about this, just the fact that it's a story that is nonsensical and is not even that fun to watch. And it doesn't need a third movie. Don't watch it, please. Now let's head into the maybe category and talk about a movie that you've been expecting for quite a while because it's directed by a YouTuber called Markiplier. It's a movie called Iron Lung. So the first trailer actually came out 2 years ago, and honestly, like, even though I like Markiplier, it really feels like it's just him and voiceovers and a couple of like CGI effects that are well made at the end of the day. Plus, from the trailer, I don't really know what's going on because I haven't played the game. It's a video game adaptation, so it looks boring. It's starring a person that is not actually a professionally trained actor, so it really feels like a marketing scam. It's coming out on January 30. It could still be good because you never know, like with these type of things, especially the horror genre. It could be good just because of how bad it is, you know what I mean? So this is why I put it in the maybe category instead of the avoid category, because there is nothing really telling me that this is gonna be bad for the industry. I mean, maybe more YouTubers will want to make their own movies, but this has been happening for years and years and years, and these movies just end up flopping, and that's it. Like, there's almost never a movie made by a YouTuber that works, besides Raka Raka, of course. The Philippou brothers, when it comes to their horror movies, they're the only ones who are kind of like the exception to the rule.
Hello, IT. Have you tried turning it off and on again? Okay, well, are you sure that it's plugged in?
On February 13, we're getting Wuthering Heights, and listen, a lot of things that push you to be skeptical when it comes to this movie. You probably heard most of them, like this has been a topic online. The fact that it's been made for the TikTok generation, the trailer as well, the marketing campaign, the fact that the casting doesn't really work that well because Margot Robbie, first of all, is too old for the role, and also I think the character played by Jacopo Elordi is supposed to be mixed race. So basically they've completely destroyed the dynamic from the original book, and a lot of booktubers hate that shit. But at the same time, this could be one of those guilty pleasure. It's directed by Emerald Fennell, and she's a good director, and I do not see a version of history where she would have made this movie like not interesting. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this is gonna be so bad that it's good, or maybe it's gonna be good. Not a good adaptation, but it's just gonna be like a good fun movie to sit in front of, so why not? Let's manage our expectations, but at the end of the day, this might work. The next one coming out on March 6th is gonna be Hoppers, and I mean, listen, despite the body hopping thing, it's clearly yet another story about animals fighting the humans back, and we've seen this over and over and over again. Plus, I think that visually speaking, it does not even look that interesting. I mean, just compare it to Goat, which is the movie I mentioned before. We also have a new director, Daniel Chong, who has only made like one film, even though he's basically been a creative director on every single like Pixar/Disney animation project in the last few years. So is this gonna be good? Probably not. Is this gonna be something that you enjoy watching on Disney Plus? 100% sure. But just to let you know, there is gonna be better animation coming out this year, without a doubt. You don't need to watch every single one that Disney Pixar makes. If it doesn't look interesting for you, just don't watch it. You know what I mean?
Your life is in danger. You must do exactly as we say, Harry. LOL, I mean, Jerry.
Oh my god, that was so funny!
On April 17th, we're getting Lee Cronin's The Mummy. I was about to actually push this movie into should be fine category, mostly because of the trailer, which I think looked quite fine. It looked scary. The marketing campaign has been doing quite well as well. There's this kind of like poster going around with like a Morse kind of like language going on. It's interesting, it's intriguing, it looks scary. But the reason I put it on maybe is mostly because, first of all, do we need a new Mummy movie without Brendan Fraser? Especially since it's been announced that they're actually going to be working on a sequel. So my answer is probably no, but I'm still intrigued because we haven't had a proper horror mummy in a really long time, because the most recent one with Tom Cruise was not horror at all. There was nothing scary about it. Lee Cronin is a really good director as well. He's made some really scary and gory movies, but at the same time I heard that James Wan left like the theater, and we don't know exactly what it means, as in like they were having previous screenings and James Wan left the scene without saying anything. Does it mean that the movie was so bad that he couldn't finish it, or maybe did he have to just take a shit and he had to drive home because he didn't want to do it in a public toilet, because apparently journalists were actually noting down when people were exiting the room. You know what I mean? It's not really a real reason to be skeptical, but since it's a movie that is coming out so soon and we haven't heard that much about it, still let's put it in the maybe category just to be sure. On April 24th we're gonna be getting Michael. Listen, actually after watching the trailer I was like, this might be fine, but 100% sure this is gonna be a new Bohemian Rhapsody, as in this is a movie that is not gonna tell you anything new about Michael. This is gonna be a jukebox movie where it's gonna be replaying the most exciting moments of his life. It's gonna be starring all the songs that you know. It's not gonna have any surprises. So this is the main reason why I think it went into the maybe category, but also because literally the entire third act was completely reshot because they were starting to address the sexual assault, like pedophile allegations that were made against him in the later parts of his life, and apparently they didn't have the permission from the Michael Jackson estate to do that, so they reshot the entire third act. So this is a movie that was kind of reshuffled in post-production. Very often those movies tend to be bad, just to let you know. I've seen a lot of those like put together, patched together movies, and they're never interesting. This is gonna make $1 billion without a doubt. Also the idea that Michael Jackson is gonna be played by Jafar Jackson, who is part of his family, of course. Yes, you've got the resemblance. Interesting, but he's not like a trained professional actor. Apparently he's incredibly good at singing, and apparently he's really good at dancing as well. He's embodying the Michael Jackson persona really well, but still he's not gonna go beyond that. This is why we get actors to do it. This is why the Rocketman movie ended up working so much. It's mostly because when actors do it, they can bring something to life. And this is also why Baz Luhrmann Elvis was so good. Like picking lookalikes to play certain like historical celebrities is not always the good choice, and very often it's the bad choice. On May 1st, David Frankel is coming back with The Devil Wears Prada's.
I want it now!
We only have a teaser for this, we only have a poster, we have no idea what the story is going to be about, but the entire team is actually coming back. As I said previously, and I've said among of my other videos, when they're coming back with these iconic comedies, it never works. It didn't work for Mean Girls, it didn't work for Zoolander, it didn't work for Dumb and Dumber 2, it didn't even work with Beverly Hills Cop at the end of the day. It just never works. So I'm not sure whether this is going to be good, so I want to manage my own expectations, and I want you to manage them as well. Maybe if you don't hear anything like positive about it, don't go and support it, because you just end up being disappointed. And I love the first movie, and I definitely don't want to be disappointed. On June 5th, we're getting a new He-Man movie called The Masters of the Universe. One of the main reasons why I think that this is gonna be quite bad is mostly because we know almost nothing about it. We don't have an actual poster, we don't have a trailer, and this is one of those like big budget CGI crazy looking movies. We definitely should hear something about it quite soon, otherwise it's either gonna be moved or it's gonna be like buried. And also why I think you should manage your expectations, it's mostly because this is a classic 80s thing. Like just look at the original poster, look at the original trailer. This is a very 80s movie. This is a very 80s universe starring 80s actors and performances. There is no way that this works out in today's era unless you give it to someone like James Gunn, for example, who has been able over and over again to recapture kind of like the 80s magic. This is not really a movie that we need nowadays. I feel like this is a movie that works so well in animated form if you look at the She-Ra animated series, for example, but as a movie I just do not believe in it, and I would really like to believe in it because I actually really enjoyed the original movie. On June 12th, we're getting Scream 6. We've got a lot of people coming back for this. Even Anna Faris is coming back, and honestly she was always a really fun part of each and every scary movie.
I'm sorry if my complicated life is an inconvenience to your perfect existence.
Cindy. Cindy.
I haven't seen one in a really long time. I think I'd stopped at Scary Movie 3. I haven't watched any of the later ones. And even though last year we got a really good parody movie like the Naked Gun movie, I feel like the Naked Gun movie is not a parody first. The Scary Movie is a parody. Like literally it exists just because of the things that it's parodying, and I just don't know if we're able to do these kind of movies anymore. They need to be stupid, but I also need to be well written, because when you think about it, the stupidest comedies are the hardest to write. Like movies like Dumb and Dumber, for example, or even classic comedies from the 90s, they were stupid in such a charming way, and I feel like the Scary Movie movies and the parody movies of the early 2000s just in general were so stupid and so insulting, and they really embraced that, and I just don't know if we're able to do it these days. So let's manage our expectations. I'm not saying you should boycott it, of course, because it's exciting to get a new movie like this. We have so many things we could like talk about when it comes to horror movies and elevated horror in particular, for example. On September 18th, we're getting Practical Magic 2. Apparently it's based on the sequel to the original book, which came out in 2021, which was written by Elise Hoffman. The original actresses are coming back. I actually never watched the original Practical Magic, but at the end of the day, I put this into the maybe category mostly because you can never recapture that 90s, 80s magic, and I don't think that I'm gonna avoid it. I'm definitely gonna watch the original first and then watch this just out of curiosity. But we have another excellent example of why these kind of things don't work anymore. Hocus Pocus 2. Hocus Pocus 2 was kind of weird and cringy, and I feel like this is gonna be exactly the same. Like, remember the Craft origin as well, the second movie in the Craft like franchise or whatever? That one was also like not of its time. We can't do it anymore. Come on, like let's be honest here. The last movie in my maybe category is gonna be Avengers Doomsday, which is coming out next December, and I know what you're thinking. Patrick, you're gonna be watching it. You watch every single MCU movie, you rant about them constantly. Yes, I am gonna be watching it, but maybe this is the movie, the big Avengers movie I was never expecting not to be excited for. Like the teasers, they came out like across this December season, they were basically playing out with Avatar's like release as well, were so boring and so underwhelming. It really feels like this is gonna be like a Crisis of Infinite Earths kind of story, where we're gonna be getting so many different cameos of like people that we like just dying over and over again, kind of like the Infinity War snap, but with different sequences and winks to things that you liked across all of the Marvel different universes. Basically, it's gonna be what Deadpool and Wolverine was, and I'm just saying that maybe wait for the excitement to die down to make sure that it's an actual good movie, because I don't want to support Marvel blindly anymore. There are so many shows which are so forgettable. There have been so many mediocre movies coming out lately, like the new Captain America movie is an excellent example of that. I'm just saying that we shouldn't like indulge them, you know? If a movie is bad, just prove them. You need to show it to them. So this is why I'm like, you need to be careful, manage your expectations, and don't blindly support it just because it feels like it's gonna be an event movie, you know? If you're not excited, maybe don't go see it immediately. Wait for it. This is the only thing I'm saying.
Let's face it, baby, these days, you gotta have a sequel.
Let's go into the It Should Be Fine category and talk about a fun movie called Mortal Kombat 2, which is coming out on May 8th. The only reason why I think this is probably gonna be fine because it's starring Carl Urban, who is coming to play Johnny Cage. The first movie was quite fun. This is gonna be forgettable, but at least it's gonna be a weird kind of forgettable action movie. Personally, I'm not gonna see it in theaters because it's not the kind of movie that like makes me wanna go to theaters almost immediately. But without a doubt, as soon as it's up on streaming, I'll watch it because it's definitely gonna be fun. But we know that it's not gonna be like a perfect action movie. There is no way. Like the first Mortal Kombat was not a perfect action movie, and like the 90s version was not a perfect action movie either. On October 9th, we're getting The Social Reckoning. I think Aaron Sorkin is directed it, and it's a sequel to The Social Network. This is gonna be a depressing movie. Like The Social Network was an interesting movie because it was made at the perfect time. The Social Reckoning, first of all, weird title. It feels very cringy. I'm gonna watch it without a doubt because I'm very, very curious on what it's gonna be about, what it's gonna be like, because David Fincher is not attached to it anymore. But I'm just saying, do we actually want this? Like, this is the kind of like sequel that you don't expect and could be either good or incredibly bad. I feel like this is not gonna be a mediocre movie. This is gonna be either the worst thing you've ever seen or, wow, that was surprisingly good. No middle ground, just because of the people that are working on it. On October 23rd, we're getting a new M. Night Shyamalan movie. We still don't have a poster, we don't have a trailer for it either. I put it in this category instead of just not talking about it, just because M. Night Shyamalan is working with Nicholas Sparks for the movie called Remain.
Yeah. Weird.
It's really weird. So is it gonna be like a Nicholas Sparks kind of story with an M. Night Shyamalan like spin to it, which could be so incredibly funny? Because I feel like the Nicholas Sparks / Colin Hoover stories, it's easy to make fun of them or to take them seriously or to give them a little twist to make them like ridiculous, and M. Night Shyamalan is really, really good at that. He's really good at switching tones, basically. So this might be very, very good, or this might be like a by the number adaptation of Nicholas Sparks, just because M. Night Shyamalan basically needed to do this in order to make his next original movie, if you know what I mean. It's one of those like by the numbers Hollywood things that you do between one interesting movie and the next. It could be either way. So this is why I'm like, it should be fine, just because Shyamalan always makes interesting like directive choices. On July 31st, we're getting Spider-Man Brand New Day. So many different reasons why I'm not excited to see this. The main reason is that once again, they're tying it a bit too much with the MCU. Apparently Daredevil and the Punisher are gonna be part of the main story as well, and I think that Zendaya has been cast once again, so I don't know why, even though her memory has been wiped, she's back in the cast. And I think Sadie Sink is in it as well, and she might be playing an important part. I always like talked about how I want Spider-Man, I want Tom Holland's character to actually be on his own and to create a Spider-Man universe that exists outside of the MCU, where he gets to define what it means to be Spider-Man without the gadgets, without the Tony Stark legacy, without having any kind of mentor kind of character at the end of the day, and any kind of like weird twist to the original like Spider-Man movies like they did in No Way Home. So this is why I'm like, it should be fine, because it's still a Spider-Man movie, it's gonna be fun, but I'm not excited at all for this. On September 11th, we're getting Clayface, and this is a really, really weird take in James Gunn's new DCU. Which version of Clayface is it gonna be? Like, is this gonna be a weird body horror kind of horror movie? Or is this gonna be a movie where Clayface is basically just a character putting on different masks? Because one of the abilities of Clayface is being able to morph into any kind of different body shapes. So basically this is gonna be like a kind of like a chameleon kind of story, and I hope not. I hope it's a body horror story, but we know nothing about it. We have no posters, we have no trailers, so I still needed to mention it, because for me it feels like it's one of those movies that it could go either way. I do trust James Gunn direction with the DCU, but you never know what they do with this kind of stuff, especially when you look at what Sony did with like Craven, with Venom, and even Morbius. Like, these kind of like villain movies don't always work out. Joker is kind of like the exception to the rule, if you know what I mean. And on September 18th, we're getting the last movie of this video, which is gonna be Zach Cregger's Resident Evil. We've gotten so many adaptations of the Resident Evil story. Apparently this is not adapting any of the video games. This is like a new original story written by people working with Zach Cregger. That's the only thing that makes it interesting, especially the fact that he's working on it as well. Of course, we don't have a poster, we don't have a trailer for it. I'm suffering of Resident Evil fatigue. This is mostly why I wanted to talk about it, because it's been told too many different times. It's been received as mediocre, good to really, really bad. I feel like we've never had a proper, like, thorough good Resident Evil movie or even show. I feel like the most recent, like, Welcome to Raccoon City movie was probably the most entertaining, while not being completely dumb, like the Paul W.S. Anderson, like, franchise. That one was absolutely insane. It's kind of like the Transformers version of what a horror franchise should be, if you know what I mean.
What the fuck is this? I don't know.
But it's Zal Kreger. He is supposed to be a good director. But which version of Zal Kreger are we getting? Are we getting the yes man, or are we getting the guy who makes weird like horror movies? You never know. But anyways, this was it. This was my chill list of films that you should avoid in 2026. Let me know down in the comments if you have your own version of this list, because I'd be interested in checking it out. Let me know also if of any of the things I've talked about you want to support them nonetheless, or if you're gonna listen to my advice, because apparently I have an 80% accountability rate. So, you know, I know my shit at the end of the day. And my goal with this video is also to not make you waste your time. I already do it. Don't waste your time. There are so many excellent movies coming out every single year. I get it. Sometimes you want to watch some mediocre stuff because you want to be on your phone, but most of your time should be spent on good movies. And this is why I'm here. I want to help you not waste your time. So don't take this video too seriously either. If you like this video, here down at the bottom as usual, I'm going to be putting other videos where I talk about things that I hate and not things that I love, because I love hating on things as well, and it's always fun to watch, and you seem to like it quite a lot as well. Don't forget to smash that like button. Every single time that you do that, you make sure that we get a new Avengers added to the Avengers movie, to the point that the movie implodes and we all die within it.
Can I count on you?
Wow, that was really sad. I hope that doesn't happen. Just keep adding Avengers. It's definitely gonna make $1 billion like the Avatar movies. I'm Patrick, and this is Torn Apart.
Back in the 90s, I was in a very famous TV show.